Ducci.
Thank you very much, Tad. It'll be Mike Sager, Jeff Longo, and Chris Whitaker here for Atco in the bottom of the third inning. Atco 3 runs, and as Tad mentioned, no hits yet. And Mike Baines coming in the first inning got the last out before Chris Gervasian had a very strong second inning for Washington Township.
And Washington Township has had their opportunities here, Mark. Lined into a double play. Had a chance that pass inning to put a runner on, but a strikeout to Barber ends that little rally. So they're getting their chances.
And as we mentioned, the American Legion season has about 10 days to go in the regular season, and teams' pitching staffs will really be extended to the limit. Atco with 9 games, Township with a similar number coming up. Both teams with double headers coming up on Saturday. As Sager takes the first pitch for a strike. Walked his first time and came around to score. Has outstanding speed as we saw him go after the ball in center field as that ball's low, 1-1.
I like what I saw there, though, from Baines. Baines tried to throw a changeup. The young men realizing changeups are important. You got to keep the runners off stride.
When people get tattered with changeups, it's usually when their changeup is too fast. Oh, Baines coming inside there. Play at third by Reeves for the first out. Mike Reeves, an outstanding defensive player, as we mentioned, a pitcher the other night. He's going to certainly be one of the top players next year in South Jersey, as he'll be a senior for Coach Joe Kosha at Glassboro High School.
He did a real nice job on that play. Nice reactions down at third base, stayed low, made a great throw to first base.
And that'll bring up Jeff Longo, who walked his first time, and like Sager, came around to score. Longo headed for the University of Maine, and they have an outstanding complex up there, I'm told, Tad.
And that's amazing that he signed before last season.
He takes that high, 2-0 the count.
That shows a lot of confidence from the Maine coaching staff to sign a high school player before the season starts.
Well, as we mentioned, they saw him in that Keene, New Hampshire tournament. They liked what they saw, as Longo showing good discipline that time. 3-0 the count. And by the way, he didn't relax during the high school season with a scholarship in hand. He hit close to 500 for Hamilton this season, was an all-South Jersey outfielder. Has 4 straight pitches for a walk, so Jeff Longo's a 1-out base runner. Here in the bottom of the third inning is his Atco team leading Washington Township 3-0.
And that was only the first walk given up by Baines in the game thus far. It's got to be tough for that young man Longo too, Mark, because everyone knew that he had the scholarship, so I'm sure they were gunning to get him out.
Hamilton had such a deep lineup, though, you couldn't pitch around too many people. They had a fine season again, and they'll come in, everyone's saying it already, they'll come in as the favorites next year in the Cape National. Although Middle Township might have something to say, is Whitaker going to right field, Wallace going back, and he turns on it and makes the catch.
And I'll tell you what, Mark, Wallace was very, very fortunate. Wallace got caught flat-footed on the hit, and then he started coming in. The ball was hit over his head. Luckily, he was in good enough original position before the hit to make the catch.
Kind of nice catch by him, but I don't think you want your outfielders backing up that way, do you?
No, he, as I mentioned, he was flat-footed. You want to turn and go to the fence and line yourself up first, and he just got caught flat-footed, and that's a tough play, though.
And the DH Burstner takes the first pitch for a strike.
That's something that's very hard to teach, Mark. Outfield play on a line drive. That's one of the most difficult plays in baseball.
Well, they always tell you, Tad, the toughest play to get is the one that hit right to you. Just misses that time. Baines did on the curveball. 1-1 to count.
The bottom line is he made the catch. Doesn't matter how you do it, just as long as you make the play.
We have to mention, too, outside for a ball, 2-1. Wallace DH'd a lot this year for Washington Township during a high school season, so this is good kind of experience he's getting out here during the Legion season. Again, he'll be one of the more feared hitters next year in South Jersey, too. That's ball 3-1, and going to second easily will be Jeff Longo on the wild pitch.
And Roy Price just caught a bad break there. The ball hit the front of the plate. There's a little where the black of the plate is, and it bounced directly over his head. He went down to block it, and to his surprise, it bounced way over his head.
You know, many of the backstops a lot closer to the catchers in high school and in the American Legion fields. Not this one at all. No room for a mistake.
There is a lot of distance, a lot of foul room here. Pitcher friendly.
So with 2 outs, Jeff Longo at second. Count 3-1 to Rourke Bursner. Atco leading 3-0 here in the bottom of the third. Good pitch that time by Baines.
That's true, and Bursner did a good job there. 3-1, the batter's ahead, Mark. You just want to pick a fastball. You pick a certain area, like it low and inside, you swing at it. That must have been in Bursner's area. He got a pretty good cut at that.
And low for a ball, and also the runner Longo will go to third on another wild pitch by Washington Township, and Roy Price is having quite a workout.
Yeah, he'll be definitely tired with the ice pack, and they were very fortunate there, Mark. That ball almost went beyond the screen, but I believe if I have my rules correct here, a ball pitched from the rubber only advances 1 base anyway, so the runner still would only have made it to third base.
I'll tell you what, Price is going to be in pretty good shape to do Tom Brown's football drills if he keeps going back to the backstop with regularity.
This is an interesting situation here. First and third with 2 outs. Let's see what they elect to do with Bursner at first base.
I'll tell you what, you have a guy up now, Joe Cruz, who walked his first time up, the junior to be at Overbrook, and a guy that can just crush the ball. He takes that for a ball.
I've seen him have good opposite field power the few games I saw him play. Washington Township is playing him to pull to right field. He has a lot of room to left field line and left center.
Boy, for a second baseman, he has a lot of power.
And there it is, the ball the opposite way. I'm a little surprised. Now Kerner moves over a couple steps in that pitch. You can see how Kerner not only is a good physical player, Mark, but he also has a very good head on his shoulders.
So the count's even 1-1 to Joe Cruz.
Left fielder Fletcher also moved over.
Oh, and he crushes that. Baines gets a glove on it. Going to be a tough play for Phillips, and he won't have a play as Cruz gets the RBI single, scoring his Longo, and Atco now leads 4-0.
That was a nice hit right there by Cruz. A nice effort by Baines. Baines on the follow-through was in pretty good position to field the ball. If that was a Mitch Williams, never would have got to it. He was in pretty good position on the follow-through, and they made the only play they could make on that.
And unbelievably, even though the score is 4-0, that is the first Atco hit.
And there you look at it again, Mark. Second baseman comes in, really has no play as the run comes in to score.
I'll tell you what, D.M. Phillips did a good job not making the throw as Nick LaGuardia now steps to the plate. Grounder to Wood at short, to the force to Phillips for the third out. So 1 run that inning. On 1 hit, there were 2 walks and 2 left on base. We go to the top of the 4th inning, and it's Atco 4, Washington Township nothing.
And you're not going to be successful on the mound if you're giving away free passes. Not only do you want to stay away from the walks, but you also want to stay ahead in the count, get those first few pitches in there for a strike, and make the batter guess at what you're throwing.
Oh, and yes, the talent level's down there, but you know, I don't know anyone that wants to play them in the postseason.
Yeah, and the good thing I like about them is, Mark, they practice as a Brooklawn team all year long. They work out together, they hit in the off season together, and that's why they're so successful.
So Mike Wallace will lead things off here in the top of the 4th. It'll be Wallace, Price, and then Mike Reeves. Grounder, nice play by Bickle. Look at the gun that he has there as Wallace has good speed, and Ryan Bickle putting on a show tonight defensively.
Yeah, Bickle did an outstanding job. He's getting a lot of big hops out there from this hard ground surface, but his arm is real strong. Nice play out there.
And he really plays the ball well and never rushes too much. Interesting, too, because McCree, the player we talked about before, played most of the shortstop for Edgewood this year. Mike, of course, we wish him the best of luck in his recovery after breaking his leg this American Legion season as Roy Price takes the first pitch for a strike, I'm sorry. Price walked his first time.
Boy, Roy Price really filled out some information sheet here. I'll have to give you some of the information on him.
I read some of that, some of that prose of his.
He's thinking about going to West Point or Appalachian State. And my sister's a graduate of there. That's a great college.
Fly ball to left field. Cirillo backing up and has a beat on it and puts it away for the second out.
Price just got under that fastball there. If he hits that on a line drive, that can go a great distance. He got under it. And then big out there for Potts.
Boy, and Potts also not making many pitches tonight either. Really an effective effort so far.
Yeah, the average pitch count that you should throw in an average inning is about 15 pitches an inning, and he is well below that now.
And that'll bring up Mike Reeves, the Glassboro senior to be for Washington Township. That pitch just outside for ball one. He grounded out to Bickle at short, his first time up.
Says he enjoys playing tennis and basketball. Obviously, in high school, you can't play tennis the same time you play baseball, but you can recreationally go out and enjoy that.
2-0 to Reeves. High for ball, 3-0. Of course, Reeves was part of that Glassboro staff this year, Todd, that included Johnny Polillo. John, of course, I understand, is leaning toward going to Old Dominion next year. As he takes that for a strike, looking all the way. 3-1 the count.
Yeah, if I have the opportunity, if I'm a high school player, Mark, I definitely want to go as far south as possible and play ball. You go down in some of those south arenas, they are fantastic.
As he draws a 2-out walk.
And I'll tell you, even talking to some of the Brookline people, they've got the opportunity to travel down south, play some high school ball as well as American Legion ball. They say they play in high school games where 5,000 people sometimes show up to these games because there's nothing else going on down there. It's just in the middle of nowhere. Everyone shows up. They get great support.
That's unbelievable. I think the most I've ever seen in a high school game maybe is at a state tournament where you get maybe 1,000 or something like that. That is an unbelievable.
They play in arenas down there that are the size of college stadiums, and they're packed.
So that'll bring up Jim Fletcher. There's a good look at Jim, the left fielder, who's 0 for 1 tonight. Low for a ball, 1-0. Popped up, which was a good play by LaGuardia on a ball that was not as easy as it may have looked in the second inning. Outside, 2-0.
And it seems like Fletcher's a real down-to-earth guy. A lot of guys fill out in our little cards here that they want to be pro ball players, president. He wants to be the owner of his father's shirt company when he gets older.
And takes that for a strike. 2-1 the count. I hope he doesn't want to push his father out of the business, you know.
He just wants, when his father retires, he says he wants to take
He'll
over.
Take it over. There
that's
you go.
a great honor towards your father.
2-2 the count as a strike on the outside corner.
As you mentioned, Mark, he also enjoys karate with Coach Polillo.
I'm not sure I'd want to do any karate with
Man.
Coach Polillo. That may he may give me a lesson. Line drive to left field. That's going to drop for a base hit. So Washington Township now with runners at first and second and 2 outs.
And I'll tell you what, Mark, that was just a flat-out pitching mistake by Potts. That was a high fastball up at the eyes, and Fletcher just hit a bad pitch there. Potts has got to keep that ball down.
And Cirillo in left field, Tad, didn't know whether to charge it right away or to wait back on that, and I think he made the wise decision.
Especially the way this ball's bouncing out here today. You never won't know when that ball's going to bounce over your head.
Really interesting when we saw the Carpenter Cup, when you're playing on that AstroTurf, how the outfielders really were tentative in whether they charged the ball or... Because you know there, if it goes over your head or by you at the vet, it could be an inside the Parker. As Mark Lingerfield takes the first pitch for a strike, the DH. And I'll tell you what, if you're Potts, you want to get the number 9 hitter in the order, because I don't know if you want to mess around with Jeff Wood and then Phillips and Kerner and company. Big batter right here. Low for a ball. Oh, LaGuardia has a play at third base. Safe, though, at third is Reeves getting in as Whitaker could not quite get the ball there. And I'll tell you what, Reeves may be fortunate because a good throw, a good catch, and he's out of there.
Well, the thing that was in Reeves' favor there, Mark, is that Reeves did not hesitate. As soon as he saw the ball was loose, he took off in a straight line. As we look at it again, he just took off and didn't stop. Pretty good throw. The throw was out towards the foul ground, so that if it throws in the bag, they might have gotten him.
Popped up, will it drop? Backing up at second base is Cruz, and he gets it for the third out. So no runs on 1 hit and 2 left on base. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning, and Atco's still holding a 4-0 lead over Washington Township.
I've played out there.
Oh, outstanding! It's like it looks like a minor league complex there.
I almost got kicked off my American Legion team when we played an exhibition there. They have bullpens with phones, Mark, and that game we kind of played a doubleheader. The second game I got a rest, so I thought it might be fun to order a pizza from the bullpen. And when the coach found out, he went nuts. But we all ate and had a good time and had a good laugh.
Yeah,
so.
But the question is, did he want sausage on his?
He did eat a slice too, Mark. He did. He's no longer coaching with my Gloucester Township team, but I'll definitely remember that. That was a lot of fun.
That was not the immortal John Manders, was
That's
it?
who I played for.
Is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
John, for people that don't know, for a long time did some scouting for the
Orioles,
Baltimore Orioles,
yes.
the Atlanta Braves. So in the bottom of the 4th inning, it's Jason Maceo, and then it'll be the top of the order, Ryan Bickle and Smokey Cirillo.
One of his famous quotes towards me as a ball player was, "Why are you playing baseball? You're not going to go anywhere. Get off the field." You know, that kind of. He says it like it is.
Oh, and he swings at a bad pitch there, Maceo does. Maceo 0 for 1, grounded out to shortstop, his first time up.
A lot of interesting baseball people around in South Jersey. Some retired people, some current people. A lot of characters out here.
The scouting profession tends to have many characters. As again, Baines tries to go high up and inside that time, and for the 3rd straight pitch, Maceo swung at what was a ball.
Well, I had the opportunity to see Jim Mayer's Florence Club play, and Mr. Mayer is a scout. And Mr. Mayer definitely lets everyone know that he's coaching his team. He's a very vocal coach, and he's one of those characters that's real fun to watch. He's
I'll
a real
tell you,
disciplinarian.
Jim knows the game. Jim was a pitcher at Steinert High School and Northeast Christian. Oh, as that time he strikes him out as Baines takes something off that. I think Maceo may have been expecting the heater that time. But Jim Mayer did an outstanding job just recently with the Burlington County Carpenter Cup team, a team that advanced all the way to the finals before losing to just tad what was a great suburban national team.
It's amazing what happened to the Olympic Conference team. They were the perennial powerhouse, and they eliminated in the first round.
Keep in mind that they lost, I think, 23 of 25 of their players. As Ryan Bickle takes the first pitch for a ball. Bickle officially 0 for 1 with a run scored and walk in the 1st inning. Grounder to Phillips, and that ball almost skidded away. Phillips doing a good job making the play for the 2nd out.
Hey, did a job, though. He moved laterally to his left, kept the ball in front of him, and made a real nice play. Kept his eye on the ball. Nice job. Now, is this Cirillo? Is this his official first name, or is this a? Please tell me this is a nickname, Mark.
Well, yeah, he wasn't christened Smokey, but I actually forget what his first name is. I had done a Hamilton game before, and I had known that as Smoke takes the first pitch for a strike.
He should be a pitcher. Does he pitch?
He's pitched.
Well, that's what you got. I'd like to be out there playing for a pitcher by the name of Smokey. I'd like that.
1-1 the count to Smokey Cirillo. Liner. Oh, that time Phillips going one way, not able to catch it, and the unofficial score here, we have to give him an error on that.
Yeah, he probably should have had that ball, Mark. He went up. He jumped a little bit too early, and the ball hooked and hit off the heel of his gloves. We look at it again. You can see him jump up, and it hooked real quick. Those liners are real tough to catch, but he probably should have had that ball.
The other thing is his body was going one way and the ball was going the other way.
That's because of that natural hook off the bat.
So Smoke Cirillo is a 2-out base runner, and that'll bring up Mike Sager, who takes the first pitch for a ball. Cirillo with pretty good speed with 2 outs. We'll see if he tries to test Price. Sager 0 for 1 with a run scored. Pop-up. Phillips calling for it. Now it's Wood, and Wood drops it now. So 2 straight pop-ups, and Washington Township not able to put this inning away.
And Phillips played himself right out of that ball. He went under it and kind of danced under and overplayed the ball. Wood was in real good position. As we look at it again, Wood's in real good position, but tries to catch the ball off to his side and close the glove a little early. That's a ball he should have caught.
And I'll tell you what, Smoke Cirillo, just you saw in the picture, thought the ball was going to be caught. Maybe could have been the third with 2 outs. And that brings up Longo. That ball drifting foul, and that'll drop out of play.
Nice hustle by Fletcher out in left field.
Jeff Longo is just a hitting machine. We haven't seen it tonight yet, as he's walked 2 times tonight in his 2 at-bats and has scored both times. 1 on a wild pitch and 1 on a base hit by the dangerous Joe Cruz.
Well, he's batting .430 with 9 doubles. 30 runs knocked in. They both lead the team.
Hey, he takes that for a strike, so quickly Baines gets ahead of him 0-2.
Now, I'd be looking for a ball the opposite way here towards left field. There it goes.
And he goes toward left field, and Fletcher right there, and he does put that one away after 2 errors by Township. But no damage, no runs, no hits, and 2 left on base. We're at the end of 4 innings, and Atco still holding that 4-0 lead, Tad. Who at the Carpenter Cup, when they have a skills day for what are the underclassmen, and I think it's outstanding because more than 100 colleges come and attend. They time the people, they time their fastballs, they time their breaking pitches, and Mike Potts was one of the harder throwing juniors that they had over there at Veterans Stadium.
But Hershiser does hold overall for his career a lot of the Cherry Hill East final pitching statistics. It is pretty much in this sport, it is a lot of a crapshoot. You know, as a lot of people pick on the Phillies for Frank Thomas, but at the time, who knew?
They should have taken Frank Thomas. There's no excuse.
But trying to be a homer there, Mark. I was trying.
As Jeff Wood, who's the leadoff batter in this inning, it'll be Wood, Phillips, and Kerner. Here in the top of the 5th, this Township trying to dig into that 4-0 deficit.
And this would be the inning to do it, because you figure you've got to start soon. You've only got 3 more innings to go, 9 more at bats. You got to start with your top of the lineup. They've got to produce here.
He's taking all the way, and that just missed. 3-0 the count. Wood may look at 2 right now.
Guaranteed.
Has he 4-pitch walk? So he's a leadoff base runner, and again, Township came back earlier this season against Atco, so they know they can do it.
And I'll tell you what, those pitches by Potts did not miss by much. They were borderline pitches. They could go either way.
Tad, by the way, when they didn't take Frank Thomas, that was the year they took Jeff Jackson, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, enough said. They blew it. I think Frank Thomas, I've had arguments. I think he's the best player in baseball.
He most certainly can be. Very dominating.
That'll bring up D.M. Phillips as Wood, a leadoff base runner at first, as he takes that for a strike. You know, I had mentioned that I thought Phillips was one of the best, most improved players in South Jersey. He hits 100 as a junior for Washington Township, only went 1 for 10. This year he crushed the ball at about a 440 clip, and he's just continued it in the American Legion play.
Getting back to that Phillies thing, you get players like, you know, that do outstanding here, like a John Cupsey, and then they just go out there and for whatever reason they just can't get it together. And we see a lot of stories like that happen.
Absolutely. 0-2 the count to Phillips. What is it? 3% of all people who are drafted actually make it?
Yeah.
In Major League Baseball. And he crushes a line drive. That's going to drop in. Could be extra bases as it goes over Cirillo's head, and D.M. Phillips is going to go in for a double.
Phillips roped that ball into left center field. Left fielder Cirillo got a real bad hop out there. They might have sent Wood if they wanted to, but wisely, Coach Gervasi, with nobody out, holds the runners. That was a real smart play by Coach Gervasi, because they might have forced Wood if they wanted to.
Now here's a bit of strategy now. You have a base open. You have the dangerous Mike Kerner up. What do you do, Coach?
I would walk him here, no doubt about it. Just here, let's look at some Mike Kerner stats. 592, 49 RBIs, 3 homers, 8 doubles, and I pitched against him this year, and he just cannot. He's not an easy out. I give him first base.
Let me ask you, how did you get him out at all?
I got him out once. He batted against me 3 times. I got him out once.
What was the scouting report? What'd you do?
I just pitched him away with a lot of junk. And I believe it or not, I hung a curveball and he ripped it almost out of the stadium down the right field line. Real solid hitter.
Well, they're going to pitch to him. Ground ball by Cruz for a base hit. 1 run will score. Holding up at third base is Phillips, and Washington Township is on the board. They trail now by a 4-1 score.
Well, I don't feel as bad because I was on record as saying I would have walked him. For Potts' benefit, though, he got a pretty decent pitch. He got a ground ball. It just fell through the hole. Percentages are it's going to hit a fielder. That time it didn't. They almost rolled a 7.
And Cruz, I thought, did an excellent job almost getting to that ball.
And likewise, D.M. Phillips could have been sent home, but the coach wisely held him with nobody out.
So that brings up Gary Barber with runners at the corners as he takes that first pitch for a strike.
And Barber's no slouch. Mark batting .410, 33 RBIs, 2 homers, and 9 doubles.
Barber, of course, will be back next year again for John Bush's team.
Kerner toying with Potts at first base, kind of dancing, trying to get his attention.
Well, I'll tell you what, Kerner's a very good base runner. He has good speed. I mean, it's an interesting thing. You're down 4-1. The book tells you don't run, but Kerner's getting a pretty good lead over there at first base.
There he goes.
As that was a foul tip that was held on that time.
Well, the thing that was in Kerner's favor there, Potts threw an off-speed pitch, and the catcher really didn't have a shot to throw him away, and wisely LaGuardia held on to the ball. That's what's great about having great athletes on your team. As you said, the book says you don't steal in that situation, but you have a great athlete. You say, hey, Mike, go get him. Go get second base.
Well, he had an outstanding lead to begin with, and I'll tell you, now you have 2 runners in scoring position, a base hit, and really could tighten things up now.
Now Barber is talking over with Coach Gervasi. I don't know if they'd put any kind of tricky play on here, but a long talk.
Not with 0-2, I doubt it. Probably Potts will try to waste a pitch and get Barber to try to chase something out of the strike zone. Hits a ground ball to Bickle. Can't go home. His only play the first. High throw. And a good play by Longo. But the second run scores as Phillips crosses the plate, and it's now 4-2.
An interesting strategy by Atco again, Mark. Had the infield been up to knock down the run, if they wanted to, once again, the book says you probably stay back, they would have held the runner at third base. Bickle made an outstanding play. Didn't get a great hop. Made a nice throw. Kerner moves up to third on the play.
So Atco's lead has been trimmed now to 4-2. As Mike Wallace now steps to the plate, he's 0-2, and Wallace will be looking to lift something in the air with Kerner at third base and 1 out.
And he lifts it right at us.
He lifted that in the air, but he wanted it to go maybe the other way.
Almost got our truck. And how big is that catch in center field by Mike Sager now? We could be playing for the tying run at third base. That was a big, big catch off the bat of Wallace in the second inning.
Well, even the band in the background's pumped up for this one. Wallace grounder to Bickle. Kerner's going to score the 3rd run as Bickle throws him out. Bickle had no other choice but to go to first, and it's now a 4-3 game.
And he had no other choice. As we mentioned, Atco elected to play normal depth. So when you're playing normal depth, you cannot be throwing that ball to the plate. It's just too far of a distance, too big of a chance. So he made the smart play. Because he was standing back, they got the out at first base.
Right, they're playing normal depth, plus they have a good runner at third in Kerner. So Wallace does his job getting the 3rd run in, and that'll bring up Roy Price, who's high for a ball. Price, an all-conference linebacker in football. Ground to the 3rd. Whitaker with a long throw the first. Longo, though, gets it for the 3rd out. But Washington Township has erupted. 3 runs on just 2 hits and nobody left on base. So we go to the bottom of the 5th inning, and it's Atco 4 and Washington Township 3. And Tad, no surprise that these two are staging another close duel.
Yeah,
4-3 lead here, looking to get more runs here in the bottom of the 5th inning, and it'll be Chris Whitaker Rourke Bursner and Joe Cruz here for Atco. Boy, both teams have, as we mentioned, tough schedules coming up. Atco has to play a big doubleheader Saturday against Brooklawn. Low for a ball, 1-0. Then they have to play the Hemphill Hawks team that beat Washington Township the other day on Monday. Haddon Heights Tuesday. It just doesn't get any easier. Washington Township plays your old team Saturday in a doubleheader, Gloucester Township. Then they play Haddon Heights, Millville Monday and Tuesday.
Gloucester Township has just fallen off the map. I think all they have is 5 wins this year. They're struggling.
Well, the word is they just never got over the loss of you on that team. Once you left,
10 years removed.
Yeah, they're still mourning.
And
Whitaker way out ahead of that one as the count's 2-1.
And I'll tell you what, there's people in Brooklyn who still come up to me and say they can't believe we didn't beat them that year. With the Keith Wren on our team, we had Dave Miller who played pro ball.
Wait, Dave still in the? I know he was with the Orioles system, the old.
That's
Highland
a good question.
The old Highland High School pitcher. How did you lose that
Johnny
year?
Githens was on that team. Dave Miller.
Johnny Githens was a kid who was drafted by Cleveland and was in that, or he went to Sterling High School.
Correct.
Boy, that's a heck of a team.
George Phillips, who was an outstanding pitcher, lefty for Sterling High School. It was just, and George Murray from Highland High School, the outstanding 188 wrestler who was an outstanding hitter in his time.
Boy, oh boy, that was a great team. Now, of course, Keith Wren, you mentioned, was a fine player at Edgewood. There was no Atco team back then.
So he played with us.
Yeah. That's lined through the middle, and that's going to drop for a base hit by Chris Whitaker. So he's a leadoff base runner for Atco.
And Atco quickly, that's what you want to do with your first batter, Mark. You would have come right back at Washington Township and let them know who's boss.
Let me ask you something. Did your team make the playoffs that year?
I believe we ended up in 3rd place. We look at the replay. We were close, but the coaching was the difference. I'll flat out and say it. I mean, we had no coaching whatsoever. And
I'm sure John Manders will enjoy hearing that.
Ned Kerr was also on that team as a catcher. He
old
played pro
Eastern,
ball.
Player,
he played pro ball for a year too.
So Rourke Bursner, line drive. That one's going to drop in left center field, and that ball, they're saying is a double.
Here we go,
We're having
Mark.
a problem here. They're calling it a ground rule double that time.
I say Mark, but can you honestly say you can guarantee me that ball is a ground rule double?
You can't tell from here, to be honest with you. No,
we can't.
And I'll tell you, the outfielders of Washington Township pretty smart that time.
They instantly stuck their hands
up. Their arms were lifted immediately.
I don't know if we're going to see this again or not, but that is it. Here it comes the replay right now. Let's see if we can see if it hits before the fence or not. You can't see. We're screened by the pitcher on that play. As we sat here, I couldn't even give you a guess, but big hit.
Rourke Bursner, who has 6 home runs on the season, just continues to crush the ball in American Legion. Now they're wondering whether they should walk Joe Cruz, and they are going to do that.
And the infield is in, too.
I'll tell you what, you don't always like doing this with the team that has walked so many batters tonight, but I'll tell you what, the dangerous Joe Cruz, I would walk him. Joe is officially 1 for 1 with an RBI single. Got the first hit this evening for Atco.
That's a good move. Baines has only walked. This will be his 2nd walk. And he's not too happy about it. 3rd walk, I'm sorry. But big inning coming up for Atco. Bases will be loaded, nobody out. And you can see the infield already is coming up. Puts a lot of pressure on the 8th man in the lineup, Nick LaGuardia. Nick's job is pretty much make the pitcher throw strikes and try and get the ball out of the infield.
Boy, how much respect does that show for a guy that's only going to be a junior for Overbrook to give him an intentional walk?
It's fantastic. Here comes the Washington Township coach Gervasi out of the dugout.
Yeah, Bill Gervasi talking things over, and you have to figure up 4-3. The infield's got to be moved up now.
Yeah, that's probably where they're going to be. Got to knock out these runs. Can't afford to let too many more come in. Well, that just breaks my heart, bringing back the memories, Mark. I'll tell you, we had the best team on paper, but just could not win the big game.
Give me a little feel for who Brooklawn had back then.
From Bissara from Triton was on their team.
Sure.
Pavlik, Mike Pavlik, Tim Gallagher, I remember. Their Brookline assistant coach right now, whose name escapes me at the moment. He's a pitcher, outstanding pitcher.
Oh, Stevie Mondale.
Mondale was on that team too.
Oh, Steve was a tremendous pitcher. Spent some time in the Orioles organization. He's now working with Joe Barth and Joe Barth's hitting camp. I guess I should call it a hitting school, as Nick LaGuardia takes the first pitch for a ball. Nowhere to put him as the bases are loaded. Here in the bottom of the 5th inning, Atco leading 4-3, looking to break things open a little bit. Low for a ball, 2-0. And you have to think that that bat will not come off LaGuardia's shoulder right now at 2-0.
No way. Got to make the pitcher throw you strikes. This is what you mentioned. You can't walk a guy here.
Oh, and Mike Baines gets it high for a ball.
This is almost where you just have to just cut the ball in half, slow it down. You have to throw a strike.
Oh, and he does, right on the outside corner, a nice pitch. And I'll tell you what, I would be surprised again, the number 8 batter, if he's given, I think he's going to give him the red light. It didn't matter because that ball was outside and it's a bases loaded walk. There you see, coming in to score is Chris Whitaker, and is now 5-3 Atco.
That's just the case there. Washington Township took a gamble. I think it was a pretty good gamble. But the pitcher has got to throw strikes. And when the pitcher doesn't come up big, it comes back and burns you.
I'll tell you what, I would still walk Joe Cruz.
Oh, no doubt about it.
Joe Cruz has the ability to just crush the ball.
No doubt about it. I agree. I would have done the same thing, Mark. You just take that chance, and it just burned them.
And that'll bring up the number 9 hitter from Hamilton, Jason Maceo, officially 0 for 2.
And once again, that
Boy,
bat planted
Baines
on the
is
shoulder.
missing low and outside on these pitches now. The other thing is you kind of want to get the 8-9 guys, because then you have Bickle and company starting things off after this. As he gets that pitch in for a strike, 1-1.
And that was a borderline pitch. That pitch could have gone either way, Mark. Coach Bickle at third didn't think it was a strike, but it was close enough to call.
There's Bursner at third.
Oh, boy.
And that's out of play. Boy, a lot of these hitters, Tad, getting in front of the ball a lot.
Well, that's a case where the pitchers are letting up on some off-speed kind of pitches, and that's no big deal if you're a pitcher up there. It's good to change speeds. Who cares if they hit it foul? Doesn't count. Just
Now,
keep them guessing.
Is it true when you're pitching you change speeds from slow to slower?
Slow to stop. That's
Yeah.
right. Nah, my brother has all the arm in our house. I'm the curveball specialist.
That one was off his foot, and he's hurting right now as Maceo took a shot there. I'll tell you, though, I was very impressed. Saw your name in the headlines for a shutout in the Tri-County League that you pitched.
Yeah, we played against some ex-Washington Township players. Dr. Connors, even Jones was out there to give some highlights on their news, and got to pitch against Mike Kerner, as we mentioned, and Danny Barbara, and they're having a real successful year, and it felt real good. Everything went my way that night. That's about all I can say.
Can I ask you on the air what your record is now?
I am 3-0 right now.
Boy, I'll take it.
It's not them hanging in there. Would have pitched last night, but got rained out.
Boy, the infield playing up with nobody out. 1 run already in here in the 5th. 5-3, Atco leading Washington Township in what's become a very entertaining American Legion game.
And I'll tell you what, the difference for me, Mark, but it may not be for everybody, is a split finger pitch that I've taught myself and my brother.
Right?
That's been the difference, but I don't recommend it for everybody because 9 out of 10 pitchers in the long run tend to get arm problems off of it.
Oh, and there's a curveball that just missed. Baines thought he had it.
Little bit high, it just kind of danced around the strike zone. Now, with the little kids at home, I wouldn't recommend throwing it until your arm starts to develop because it puts a lot of strain on the tendons in your elbow.
Low. Counts full.
A lot of pressure on the pitcher, Baines. He's got to come up big here.
Baines just trying to keep things under control here. Great pitch that time, outside corner for a strikeout and the first out.
That was a big, big pitch by Baines. Just had to get the ball over the plate, did his job, and Maceo was in front of it. Big out.
So Mike Baines gets his second strikeout of the evening, both against Maceo. But he's far from out of this. As the top of the order now, Ryan Bickle. And we said Ryan works a pitcher about as well as anyone in South Jersey. So if Baines isn't anywhere close to the strike zone, I don't think Bickle's going to offer.
Yeah, Baines is going to have to throw strikes, no doubt about it. That's what you want. A nice leadoff batter has a good on-base percentage and a good eye.
Bickle 0 for 2 with a run scored, walked in the first inning and scored the first run.
It's funny.
What an eye he has. That ball didn't miss by much, but Bickle didn't even flinch at it.
He wears number 4. Maybe he's a fan of a Phillies number 4.
Oh, there's a line drive. What a great play that time by Wood, who was screened, gets the double play, and Washington Township is out of the inning. What a play by shortstop Jeff Wood. So 1 run on 2 hits. Couple runners left on base, but it could have been a lot worse for Washington Township. At the end of 5, it's Atco 5 and Washington Township 3.
All right, Jack Kazaneski back with Mark Narducci. Let's look at this play again if we can get this back on our screen here, Mark. Real interesting play on the line drive. What I want you to watch is watch the second baseman. He kind of holds a little long right there. He hesitates, and that's probably what got him out at second base, Mark.
Absolutely. What a great bit of concentration that time as a runner right in front of him. Jeff Wood making the play to keep this game close as we're in the top of the 6th inning. Atco leading 5-3, and to take us the rest of the way, back to Tad Kazanuski.
All right, bottom of the 6th inning, it'll be 7, 8, and 9. Mike Rees, Jim Fletcher, and Mark Lingerfield, as that was a big, big out in the game. The runner at second base tried to deke the shortstop, but he held a little bit too long and got picked off. Rees in the game 0 for 1 with the ground out and a walk. Takes first pitch for a strike.
I'll tell you what, Tad, as we mentioned, it's in top of the 6th inning now, and the sun's starting to come down, and maybe the ball going to be a little tougher for the hitters to pick up. A real crucial inning.
It's low and outside for a ball. Reeves batting .292. 1 homer, 10 RBIs, as Mark corrected me. This is the top of the 6th inning, not the bottom of the 6th. Potts' pitch. Line drive, base hit into left field. So starting it off is Mike Reeves with a single, and Washington Townships get things started again early. Got to get that first base runner on, and they did it last inning. They're doing it again this inning. That'll bring to plate Jim Fletcher. Fletcher 1 for 2 with a single and a flyout. Coming into the game, Fletcher batting .400 with 21 RBIs. Now the conference time has started here. Atco coach talking things over. Coach Bickle.
Down by 2 runs, I don't think you're thinking of bunting if you're Washington Township, but I think Coach Bickle trying to cover all bases and just saying be aware of anything.
5-3 is your score. Don't want to go through a big inning like they had before. Washington Township, Jeff Wood walked, Phillips doubled, Kerner singled, then a couple of groundouts, but they brought in 3 on the groundouts. So Fletcher's on first, nobody out in the top half of the 6th. Mike Potts started this game, still in the game. Pitch to Fletcher. He bunts and it pops foul out of play. They're trying to move the runners along. Maybe a little surprising, as you mentioned, Mark, trailing by 2.
I'll tell you, I don't know if he was trying to get a base hit, but if he was just trying to sacrifice, you're right. I'm a little surprised at that.
The only thinking I could think about that is that you have the 8th hitter now, 9th hitter, then the top of the lineup. Maybe they're playing for the top of the lineup to do some damage again. That's tough, though. That's a tough stretch because you're still 2 batters away from the top. Third baseman, even with the bag, is Whitaker. First baseman, of course, Longo, holding the bag. Curveball in there for a called strike. Nice pitch by Potts.
When Potts gives you that tough motion, you know, it looks like he's coming in and throwing every pitch as a fastball, and a great deceptive motion he has.
Ground ball chopped to short. Here comes Bickle. One play. Goes to first base just in time. Just in time to get Fletcher. Not by much. Fletcher is not happy with the call. As we mentioned, Reeves moves up to second base.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, and as we look at this play again, Bickle does a great job charging. Longo did a great job also holding that bag and stretching.
Mark Lingerfield from Pittman High School, 0 for 2 in this game. He's the 9th hitter in the lineup, coming into the game batting .494.
I'll tell you what, you really like the way Bickle doesn't panic. That time he may have waited almost a little too long, but you just like the way how cool he stays out there.
Potts pitch to Lingerfield. Inside for a ball, 1-0. Pitch. 1-1 on the called strike.
Boy, Potts doing a good job hitting that outside corner.
Lingerfield says he enjoys analyzing poems and reading short stories. So an intellectual young man from Pittman High School. 1-1 pitch. In there for a called strike, 1-2. Potts is not making things easy for Washington Township. He's pitched very well. He's ahead. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Curveball line down the right field line. That's a real nice piece of hitting, Mark, by Lingerfield. It almost looked like he expected the curveball and elected to take it the other way.
Yeah, and he waited just long enough. A lot of times you're too impatient on that slow curveball that time, but Lingerfield just missed putting that one in play. You're right, an outstanding piece of hitting.
You don't want to try and pull it when you're behind. You want to go with the pitch. And
of course, he's choking up a little bit against Potts.
Ground ball to short. Bickle plays, charges. Long throw to first in time to get Lingerfield. Moving up to third is Reeves, and there are now 2 outs.
Again, another good play by Bickle, and the fact that the runner, Reeves, went right in front of that ball kind of shielded him a little bit. He was able to concentrate. The one thing that Bickle would want to do, a lot of his throws now are going high at first base. Longo's been able to bail him out, but he may want to get those throws down a little bit lower.
Here's Jeff Wood, who has walked 3 times and scored a run, batting .435. He has 5 home runs. Boy, wouldn't a home run be nice right now for Washington Township with 2 outs in the top of the 6th. Curveball high and outside for a ball, and I think Potts is thinking the same thing. He must be aware that Wood has some power.
Well, I'll tell you what, he has been going, it seems, Tad, the last 2 innings with a lot more breaking pitches than we saw earlier in the game from him. And just as I say that, he throws a high heater.
That's just showing respect for the other team. You know they're fastball hitters. You don't want to give them anything big to hit. That misses too. Wood hopes to major in architecture. An interesting field in itself. Potts pitch. In there for a called strike.
He was taking all the way on that. Again, we talk about Bickle working a pitcher well. Wood, with his 3 walks tonight, does just as good a job working a pitcher.
Popped up out of play over our heads. And I just looked over to our left in our Haddon Heights. Coach DeCastro is here joining the game to our left behind home plate. Scouting the teams. He's just behind home plate. He's checking things
Haddon
out
Heights
here.
is one of those American Legion teams in that log jam of potential playoff qualifiers. Haddon Heights getting a lot of mileage out of a lot of the Paula 6 players.
Pop up in the infield, playable. Joe Cruz, the second baseman, under it. And Joe squeezed it for the 3rd out of the inning. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 man left on base. We move to the bottom half of the 6th. Atco with the lead, 5-3. Atco and Washington Township is what you're watching. Coming into tonight's game, Atco in first place with an 18-3 record. Washington Township in 4th place with a 15-4 record. They're 2 games behind Atco. If they lose this one, they will drop to another game behind. They work as hard as these athletes out here, as Cirillo to lead things off. Popped up out of play and over our head. Cirillo in this game 0 for 3 with the strikeout, a flyout, and he's reached base on an error. Cirillo batting .250. 0-1 pitch. There's a curveball high and outside for a ball. 1-1 to Smokey Cirillo. Love that name. From Hamilton. 2-1. Baines really working quickly now. 2-1 pitch. Fast. I actually took something off that. That was not a fastball. That was more on the lines of a changeup. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Cirillo. Fouled right over our heads. That was about 3 feet over our heads here.
Shows you our athletic ability. Neither of us reacted.
We didn't even move. If it's going to hit you, it's going to hit you. You bought the farm. We're not protected by, we're partially protected by a fence, but our heads hang out mysteriously here. That's a changeup high and inside for a ball. At least when you're pitching on the mound, you have a glove. We're just sitting here, and we have no idea the ball's coming back on us.
You know, it's sad. Even if I had a glove, I wouldn't have been able to react.
Yep, the days have passed us by.
Hey, don't say that the way you're pitching this summer.
Well, we're having some fun. That's all I can say. Having some fun, bringing back some memories, playing against the old guys. A lot of good players out on that field, too. A lot of ex-major leaguers. Some guys even still swing their wooden bats when they play. A lot of fun. A lot of big names, too, from the 10 years, 5 years going by. Cirillo hanging the pitch. Line drive off the glove of Baines. Baines is going to make the play. We saw earlier in the game where a ball bounced off Baines' glove. That's a case, Mark, where Baines has pretty good technique. He has a great follow-through when he's ready to field the ball.
Absolutely that time. And again, there's sometimes you may want to panic when a ball's hit that hard. Look how Baines takes his time. He knows it's in front of him, makes the play.
Cirillo was just flat-out robbed as Mike Sager, the center fielder, to the plate. In this game is 0 for 2 with the walk. Sager came into the game batting .367. There's a curveball for a called strike.
Boy, and of course, he's going to a Gloucester County team next year that can use some outfielders and can use pitching. In the infield, they have everybody coming back.
That's fouled back to screen. 2 quick strikes to Sager.
I think if Barry Davis he can find some of those arms, I think he's going to make a run at a 3rd straight junior college Division III national championship.
That is amazing.
Of course, Bill Robinson may have something to say about that here at Camden County.
Can you imagine that? Having 2 of the top teams in the nation right here in South Jersey. Nice block by the catcher, Price.
You know, Camden County got a player you're very familiar with, Hans Beebe, who played for your father at Eastern, and I thought was one of the more unsung pitchers in South Jersey.
He almost single-handedly beat Gloucester Catholic, and he did beat Washington Township. I'm sure the Washington Township kids remember that. Fly ball to left, taken in by Fletcher.
Yeah, that was the game, Tad, where he knocked him out of the state tournament in the first round. He had something like 13 strikeouts.
He pitched the game of his life, and he had a game. What's funny is he had a game in Babe Ruth against Washington Township where he did the exact same thing, and he was very proud of that performance. 2 outs in the inning for Jeff Longo, the first baseman. Jeff has walked twice and scored and flown out. Longo batting .430. Going to the University of Maine. Change up low for a ball.
Yeah, what Longo offers a college program is some versatility. He did some pitching. I mean, you could maybe use him in relief. Plays first. He could play the outfield.
He lined the field before the game. He cuts the grass and put the fence up around the outfield, too. Just like the way he carries himself. Has a real nice attitude about playing. That's outside for a ball. I'm a little surprised, Mark. They're still playing him around the pool a lot. Every time I've seen him hit, he hits the opposite way. Kind of like a John Kruk. Now he got fisted and popped it up in the infield. Playable for D.M. Phillips. Phillips squeezed it, and 3 up and 3 down in the 6th. Washington Township has 1 chance left as we move to the top half of the 7th inning. It's 5-3, Atco with the lead. And as Mark mentioned, one of the most improved players in South Jersey in high school.
There's no question he'll be one of the best players in South Jersey, too, next year.
1-0. 1-0 to D.M. Phillips. They need 2 runs to tie. Otherwise, Atco will move to 19-3. That's in there for a called strike, 1-1.
Saw him crush a home run a couple weeks ago against Mays Landing, a decent Mays Landing team in this American Legion League. He has very good power. You know, don't be deceived by the fact. A lot of people, it's funny, in this game, the second basemen are not considered the power guys, but Cruz and Phillips can really launch it a long way.
That's high for a ball, 2-1. Kerner on deck. one of the hottest, maybe the best player in South Jersey this year, with one more year to go. 2-1 pitch. Make it 3-1. This is one thing Potts can't do, Mark. You can't give Washington Township base runners. You have to at least make them earn it, make them swing the bat, because they are dangerous.
Right, especially with Kerner, Barber, Wallace, and Price coming up behind them.
3-1 pitch. Ooh, just on the corner. Phillips didn't think so. It moves to 3-2. There's the situation. 3-2, no outs. Bases empty. We're in the top half of the 7th inning. Atco, the home team, with the lead, 5-3. Here's the payoff pitch. Ground ball up the middle and a base hit. That ball was singled right up the middle. And there you see the difference, Mark, between Potts and Baines. Potts is not in real good position to field the balls. He ends up towards the third base side. He almost seemed surprised that the ball came back at him. And that's a case there where a pitcher can help himself. Baines has helped himself once in this game already. Potts had a shot there. Now are we going to get a pitching change, Mark?
Yeah, we are.
All right, Mr. Potts is going to leave the game. He can win the game. He can't lose the game as he leaves it 5-3.
Yeah, they're going to come in with Rourke Bursner now, who is the DH.
Bursner's stats for the year, not too shabby. 4-1 with a save in 30 1/3 innings pitched, giving up 11 runs, 8 of them earned, 30 walks, highest on the team, and 35 strikeouts. His ERA, second only to Mr. Sager, 1.84.
Well, he's kind of like a right-handed Potts. He throws very hard. Good job by Potts tonight, too. I've seen him before, and I don't know if he had his best fastball tonight, Tad. I've seen him before throw a little bit harder, but he got out of some tough situations and just battled. And that's, Mike Potts is a great pitcher, and he has a lot of intestinal fortitude, and he certainly do a preseason football magazine. This will be the second year I'll be doing it, and Mike's one of the guys who was nice enough the other night to come down. He's going to be on our cover.
Wow.
We shot the cover photo in Cherry Hill the other night, and Mike hustled there and then had to go to a Legion game.
Wow. Well, he has a chance to make his team, put him up on the top, I guess you could say. Or he's 2 for 3 in the game. Comes in this game batting .592. First pitch outside for a ball, 1-0. And you know they're going to pitch to Kerner carefully.
Thing is, you can't start putting too many base runners on. I know you have a 2-run lead if you're Atco, but you have to think about getting some people out. I think Bursner's just going to throw him smoke.
That's in there for a called strike. You have to be careful because Kerner can time you. You have to throw him a lot of off-speed stuff. You can't groove it to him. As we mentioned, keep in mind Bursner has walked 30 batters in 30 innings. Leads the team, almost double leads the team in walks. Ground ball fouls. Way behind that was Kerner. Kerner said hit it off the end of the bat. You could read his lips.
The pitch before that, Bursner hit the outside corner. That time Kerner anticipated that, tried to go the other way.
He's not going to see anything on his side of the plate. There's just no way.
Well, right now, the one pitch I wouldn't throw him right now, and that's a strike.
That's correct, as he's at, what is the count, 1-2, Mark? 1-2 is the official count, so it's going to be something he's going to have to fish for. 1-2 pitch. Yeah, that was way high and outside. 2-1.
That was his waist-breaking pitch.
You have to be careful with that, too, because you get that pitch up to a good hitter like Kerner and forget about it.
And, that one did hang a little bit.
That
had
was
some
way
hang
up
time.
there. You almost have to bounce it up there and get him to chase it. 2-2 pitch. Fastball, pop, foul. That was probably a ball. It was high in the strike zone.
But again, high and outside. Bursner continues to pitch that pattern to Kerner.
Pretty good speed, pretty good velocity thus far for Bursner. I'm pretty impressed with his speed. We'll try and get a miles per hour on him if I can do it with my little timer here. 2-2. Popped up, playable down the left field line. Chasing it is shortstop Ryan Bickle. Bickle one-hands it, and there's one out in the 7th, and that was a big out.
Boy, and a nice job that time by Bursner that time, because he continued to pitch the same pattern, and Kerner not able to overcome it that time. Another outside pitch went the other way.
Gary Barber, the first baseman, has lined out into a double play, struck out and grounded out. Barber is due in this game. Batting .410, he has 2 home runs, 33 RBIs. Bershner goes back, and in safely at first base is Phillips. We're in the 7th inning. 5-3, the home team Atco with the lead. Washington Township has 1 out in the top half of the 7th. Atco leading the lead with an 18-3 record. Washington Township, on the other hand, comes in 15-4, only 2 games behind. They would drop 3 behind with a loss. The pitch. That's called strike. Batter didn't like it. We don't have the greatest of angles here, Mark, so it's hard for us to tell.
I'll tell you what, though, I don't think Bershner's thrown 1 pitch on the inside part of the plate. He's going outside all the way.
Curveball, just missing. I know that's where you have to be careful with that curveball, Mark. It's
well,
a
you're
good
right.
pitch. You can't keep that high.
You're right, and Bershner's breaking pitch has had a little bit of hang time there.
That gives you time to adjust and give it a poke. Fastball swung on and missed. Bershner should just stay with the fastball at this point, Mark. He's blowing it right by him.
Well, Kerner had the right idea. Kerner tried not to pull it. He went the other way, but he just wasn't getting around on it. That time, it looked like Barber was trying to pull the ball, and you're going to have a tough time doing that on the outside part of the plate.
1-2 pitch. Ooh, nearly going around, but he held his swing. Count goes to 2-2. That fastball has some serious velocity behind it.
All right, LaGuardia's head right in the game, calling for the appeal anyway, saying did he swing?
2 balls and 2 strikes to Gary Barber. 1 out, top of the 7th. Pickoff play at first. DM Phillips back in safely. Keep in mind, Barber is the tying run with 1 out. They play him away to pull in the outfield. He's got a huge gap in left center. That's low for a ball.
Good job for LaGuardia, too, getting to that outside pitch, staying in front of it.
I'm timing him at about 85 miles an hour. Once again, this is not very scientific. Use a stopwatch. I have a chart. So there's usually 5 miles an hour either way, but somewhere above 80. The pitch. Ooh, nearly hit him inside, and walking is Gary Barber. Runners at first and second with 1 out.
Barber real surprised at that, Tad, because as we mentioned, Bershner has just been living on that outside corner, came in on him that time.
And here comes an interesting situation. That's why they're out on the mound talking things over. If we flash back to the 2nd inning, Mike Wallace hit a ball out of the ballpark that was brought back in by the center fielder Mike Seger. So we've already seen that Wallace is capable of taking a ball out of this ball yard. He is the lead run in this game with 1 out. He's flown out once and grounded out twice, 0 for 3. Batting .533. High and inside for a ball, 1-0. Now this might be a case now where Bershner might be trying to overthrow a little bit, Mark. 1 ball and no strikes to Wallace. Things getting interesting here in the top of the 7th. 1-0 pitch. In there for a called strike, 1-1.
Boy, Township people thought that one was high. I think Bershner got a break that time.
Yeah, it did appear to be above the letters. 1 ball and 1 strike to Mike Wallace.
Notice Wallace choking up just ever so slightly against Bershner.
1-1 pitch. Popped up foul, out of play and over our heads. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Mike Wallace.
Now this has been the point where Bershner has tried to waste a breaking pitch, but as we've noted, some of those pitches have hung, and he's really got to watch that.
I wouldn't be surprised, Mark, if I'm Bershner, I'd try and blow the fastball right by him here. It looks to be his best pitch. Wisely, I think, too, the outfield is playing him the opposite way. Even though he pulled the ball to left center, it seems like Bershner has some serious velocity going for him here.
Whatever he's going to throw at a 1-2 count, I think it'll be low and away.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Mike Wallace. Bershner from the stretch now, Calling time is Wallace, and he steps out. That'll break the tension. This is a big, big game. 18-3 Atco. Washington Township 15-4. They can come within a game if Washington Township can come back and win it. That'll really put a log jam at the beginning of this division. The pitch. Way high and inside for the ball. And there's that curveball. He tried it, Mark, but high and inside again. And I'll tell you, you get a good batter, they're going to capitalize on that pitch.
Yeah, I just don't think tonight he has the command of that pitch. And I agree with you. When you know the one pitch is effective, your reliever just throw smoke.
Especially if he can throw as hard as he's throwing right now. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The pitch. Popped up, right field. Coming on with it is Mascio. Mascio charging, makes the play. Runners do not advance, and there are 2 outs in the 7th.
Boy, and Bursner got a break that time as Wallace was jammed, and it was a high fastball way out of the strike zone that time. Would have been ball 3.
Swung at a bad pitch, and now the game lies on the shoulders of Roy Price. Roy has walked, flown out, and grounded out. Coming into the game, batting .402. He does have a home run and 19 RBIs. He is the lead run in this game. At second base is D.M. Phillips. He's the proximity run, and the tying run, Gary Barber at first. So really, Bursner just has to throw strikes here. He still has another batter to play with. You don't want to walk the bases loaded.
Tell you what, Price is a very good gaps hitter, and he certainly has the power to hit something in the gap.
First pitch, high and inside for a ball, 1-0.
And the other thing I like about Price is he's not going to flinch. That time, that ball coming up right near his ear, and he barely moved. He was ready to go for the next pitch before they called timeout.
Well, if you're Roy Price, you've already been hit with about 3 dozen balls behind home plate, so what's another one in the shoulder or the back at this point? You've seen about all you're going to see, probably for a career for a lot of people. 1 ball, no strikes to Roy Price. 1-0 pitch. That's just high. That looked like that pitch that was called for a strike a couple minutes ago. 2-0. Don't want to give Washington Township anything to get excited about if you're Bursner. Don't count on him swinging here with a 2-0 count. 2-0 pitch. Same spot again, 3-0. Those pitches did not miss by much, Mark. They are borderline.
The other thing is, with a guy like Bursner who's had trouble at times finding the strike zone, the last thing you want to do is load the bases.
3-0 pitch. Strike. It's 3-1. I'll tell you what, if I'm Price, I'd take another one here. Put a little pressure on the pitcher. Depends on how much confidence you have in yourself as a batter.
Well, I don't think they're going to let him swing at this one.
3-1 pitch. Ooh, on the corner for a called strike. It's now 3-2. And this pitch right now could decide the game. 3-2. 2 outs. The runners will be going. That's to your advantage if you're Washington Township on a gap. Here's the 3-2 pitch. Fouled off the catcher's mask. Would that really shuck up LaGuardia? That'll knock some cobwebs out of you. And I'll tell you what, a real nice cut by Price. He didn't miss that pitch by much.
Yeah, good job staying alive that time. And that was a good pitch, too. Low and outside, fastball.
I would be shocked if Bursner threw a curveball right now. I'll tell you what, he might catch the batter off guard, but he hasn't thrown it for a strike yet. Stress yet. 3-2. 2 outs. We're in the 7th, 5-3. Atco with the lead. Runners at first and second, as we mentioned, with 2 outs. Payoff pitch coming up. 3-2 pitch. That's low and outside, ball 4. Bases are now loaded, and it really gets exciting now. The only good thing in your favor if you're Atco is that you're at the bottom of the lineup. The only bad thing is the bottom of the lineup almost has as good an average as the top of the lineup.
Yeah, and I think Bill Gervais, he's telling Mike Reeves now as he talks to him near the third base line that, hey, make him throw at least 1 strike.
There's some discussion going on the mound. Bursner's still going to remain in the game. Bases are loaded. We're going to get a pinch runner at first base. The number 6 comes in to pinch run for Washington Township.
Yeah, that's Nick Bollatini.
He pinch ran earlier in this game. Bases loaded. Mike Reeves to the plate. Has singled, grounded out, and walked. Coming in the game batting .292. He's the 7th hitter in the lineup. That's low for a ball, 1-0.
See, now what that shows me is Reeves was kind of swinging the bat, making a gesture, and what that shows me is I don't think he's going to swing till he sees at least 1 strike.
He may not swing till he sees 2 strikes, Mark. He's going to be a window shopper here. 1-0 pitch. That's a called strike, 1-1.
Well, you can't be too defensive now. You have to get after it now.
Well, it's batter's choice. He is a hitter hitting .292. That's the lowest in the starting lineup. So we'll see what he wants to do here. 1-1 pitch. Popped up, out of play down the right field line, 1-2. Reeves didn't have a real good cut at that fastball either. 1 ball and 2 strikes. A strike can end the game. Atco with the lead, 5-3. Wind up by Bershner, 1-2 pitch. Popped up, foul, and out of play. Count remains 1-2.
And again, Reeves doing a good job on that high inside rising fastball, just staying alive. Sure, it would have been ball 2, but you got to go up there with a swinging mentality right now if you're Reeves.
Trying to keep the game alive for Washington Township. They've trailed it since the first inning. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Bershner from the windup. 1-2 pitch. Popped up, foul, out of play again. So Reeves is definitely putting on a little show for the money here. He's hanging. He's fouled off 3. Count remains 1-2. There you see it. Bershner on the mound, his hands on his hips, saying, let's get out of here. Rourke Bershner in relief of Mike Potts. Potts stands to win it. Bershner playing for a save. And there's your batter, Mike Reeves. Sure, both of them are feeling the pressure here right now. Bershner's in front, 1-2. Here's the windup and the 1-2 pitch. Fastball grounded to short. Bickle, tough play to his right, tries to go to second, and just in time. Whoa, they just got Roy Price at second base. And maybe, Mark, if they had a little quicker runner down there, he might have been in second base. What a play by Bickle.
Yeah, well, boy, that was a close play. I don't think I think Township thought he was safe, but it was a close play, and what a way to end a game. Another fine defensive play by Bickle, a great performance by Potts, and Bershner coming in to close the door.
Well, in case you want to look at it again, here's Bickle feeling the ball, play to second base. Boy, that was a real close play. That's what they call bang bang in the industry, Mark. Outstanding game for Mike Potts. Potts is going to pick up the win. He moves his record to 5-2. Chris Gervaisi is going to pick up the loss. Didn't give up a hit, but walked a bunch of runners. Gervaisi's record drops to 1-1. Atco with the win moves to 19-3. Washington Township drops to 15-5. Now 3 games behind, and both these teams still have a ways to go, Mark.
Oh yeah, plenty to go. As we mentioned, they both have about eight games left to go, and this was a gritty performance. First of all, by Washington Township to come back after they were down 4-0, and then Atco to hold on. This is the type of games you have to win late in the season, and this really puts Atco in a very good position to try to gain one of those 3 playoff spots.
For winning Atco, 5 runs on 3 hits in the game. Washington Township put 3 runs on the board on 5 hits. For Mark Narducci, I'm Tad Kozaneski. Have a good evening, everybody. Once again, the final score, Atco over Washington Township, 5-3.